Hey everyone, so it is raining like crazy right now. I've planned many things today, but this video is just in response to a viewer that looked at one of the previous videos about me discussing the airport. I'll be glad to answer him. This is from Mr. Joey Paul. And I'm gonna put the thing in front of here anyway so you can read it. So basically he says, I'm gonna read it anyway. Hey bro, could you do a video on what happened with both your restaurant businesses and also an update on your video on your Vergara buildings? I know you said it was some personal family issues, but could you talk about what you've learned, like the things you did wrong and what you should have done? It would be really helpful for young Fil Ams like me who have aspirations of doing business back in the Philippines and need the true reality for someone who has the on-the-ground experience like you, who has been through a lot so far on your entrepreneurial journey in Dumaguete. Thank you for commenting, Joey, and that's a really good question. I'll try to be as candid as I can. Tazzy, leave that alone. Taz is biting some things here in the office. He's still in training. Sit down, relax. Good boy. Let me try to break it down without going off into a rant or, ad-libbing and adding on. I'm going to try to break it down one by one because I'm very good with off-the-cuff stuff, but sometimes I get carried away. So I'm going to try to my best stay on the question. What happened to my restaurants? One restaurant, it's not really a restaurant, it's a calendaria, a canteen. That's still running in Bakong right now. It's always going to be running as long as they don't kick me out. Making good profit. That store is basically used to pay for expenses. It's doing well. It's going. It's chugging along, right? It's not making phenomenal numbers. Generally speaking, all the products are being sold. It services the community, the small little school community there, which is fine. The restaurant that was in Dumaguete, I had to close down. I butt heads with people in my family. In my previous video about crab mentality, I suffer through that in my family, right? The problem is I'm very ambitious and I'm always gonna go. The months that I was going in from beginning to when I stopped, I was probably grossing about 350,000 a month. Out of that, I usually keep like 20%, 18, if I'm lucky, 22, 23% of that every month. I was bumping heads with my parents. To be fully candid with you, for maybe for the Fil Ams, maybe you guys will understand me more, or the hierarchy, how Asian families work. So my mom's family is from, a good majority of her family is from Spain. They came here in the 1800s. They did the business in the sugar cane. They owned haciendas. They still own the haciendas. And my dad's family, we're mixing with Chinese, right? What happens is the old regime never gives up control until they're buried in the dirt. I don't know if you can read between the lines with that. My parents will never give up control until they're gone. I was straddling on a very thin line with them because I'm looking for progression. The older heads, they're looking for sustainability and security. So the things that they wanted me to do, I wasn't down for. And between you and me, I am a black sheep of the family, and I'm happy for that because why? I'm super independent. I'm not your typical Filipino child I could be wrong, but you comment if I'm right. They usually just follow the leader. They follow the family. Me, I'm an independent thinker. I'm moving forward. I ask why. And the problem is, people in my family, including my parents, they don't want you to question. And me, I'm not that way. So that's where we came into boom. So my wife and I, as well as my younger brother, we decided to step away from the situation because I would rather retain whatever little relationship I have with my parents. I can always do another business. My brother has a friend who has a saying. It says, you have to kiss the ring, which means whoever's on top, the oldest guy who's matriarch, patriarch, you gotta kiss the ring. You don't get to control your destiny until they are gone. And I'm not with that. So, I as much as I say I am a black sheep, I value my family more than business, so I had to stop it. So, which is no problem because I have more properties. I can always, build more and whatever. And, in time, Rome wasn't built in one day. Dynasties are not built in one day. Kingdoms are not built in one day. So I'm going to take my time. There are certain investments that I have done here that I shouldn't have probably done. Sometimes you take risks, but it's a risk. So, hindsight is 2020. I think that's what they say. But at the end of the day, for me, I take it as an experience. And then if I ever choose to do another business similar to a restaurant or anything like that, I learn from it and I move on. But the other businesses that I'm into, if you really want to know, I have a pedicab that's going. Sometimes I help people out. Sometimes I prenda, which is like lending. It's if you have a tract of land where something that's bearing, which is like either coconut, rice, or whatever, I lend money out in exchange for the property in a X amount of time, which gives me time to recoup the money. I don't charge you interest, but I control the property. Generally speaking, outside of my personal businesses, I help manage my family's business, which is the Vergara buildings. We have apartments around town. We have mango plantations. We have other agricultural properties that we deal with, and other properties that are empty that we're looking forward to develop. And what else am I into? Obviously, I have the convenience store here. I have the calendaria over there. I have the martial arts thing here. I do personal training. Let's see, what else do I do? I sell out my casino to certain stores, so basically consignment. I sell out my barbecue sauce. That's on consignment. What else do I do? I rent out my sound system that came from America. I do that. So I moonlight as a DJ sometimes. I breed my dogs, so I can. I love my pets, but I can't keep that many dogs. So whatever little money comes in from the breedings, I take it, flip it, maybe buy a cow, buy a goat, and flip it that way. What else? We deal in livestock. I deal in livestock. Obviously, my piggery, cows, goats. I don't really do chickens. Quick lesson about that when it comes to like livestock. When it comes to banking, I always grade it by sickness, right? How fast they can get sick. Chickens get sick, get a cough, it gets contagious, everybody dies. And then comes pigs, get diarrhea. You gotta give them medicine and heal them as fast as you can. Then goats, pretty hardy. I'm gonna say one of the most hardiest investments I can get into. And cattle, similar to goats, but it's just like this. Chickens, you can move every 45 days. Pigs, piglets at 1 month. You're looking at lechon, which is about 3 months, and further up for slaughter, 6 to 8 months. Goats, you gotta wait a little bit on that one. Acquisition is a little bit high, maybe a little bit low, depending on the breed you're getting. However, the cost of maintaining it, not so much, because you're just letting it feed on the grass. Pigs and chickens, especially the broilers, you're giving them specific feeds for that. Cattle, 50-50, they graze. At the same time, they feed them feeds. That's basically it for now. I do plan on venturing in some other things. I do plan on expanding the convenience store into getting into more hardware, household goods, because basically I'm hitting the market as far as the basic needs, as far as feeding their cattle, their livestock, their basic needs, canned goods, things like that, rice. I'm serving that. So this gentleman who owns a business in Cebu, been doing it for a while. This is what he told me. I wrote it down somewhere here. This is what he told me. You can't really see it, but I don't know if you can see that. He told me the businesses that you should get into is obviously you have to provide a product or service for the people, for your community. But there are some pinnacle products and services that will never go away. So those are the things I'm trying my best to hit, right? So banking. I don't own a bank, not yet, but that's what I do as lending, right? People need help. I put it, the collateral is their property, and I move into that. School. I don't have a physical school. I do have a martial arts school, but education is very important, especially these days. So moving into daycare, because if you look more into it, there is like some certain processes to actually get into school, but I don't want to get into that right now. However, when it comes to school, I do provide school supplies, and in a very little sense, I am providing a particular thing for that segment. Printing services, I have it here. Pens, paper, crayons, whatever. I stock a small supply here, so the little area here that I have, the young kids, when they need something for school, more than likely, outside of book bags and things like that, and the necessities, pencils and things like that, they get it from here. The supermarket, that's pretty much what I have now. I have the basic needs, the food, frozen food. But mind you, everything's micro in my world because I don't have that great market right now. But I'm only dealing with maybe 3 barangays where I'm living right now. And last one is hospital, which is medicine. So, you know, pharmaceuticals, obviously clinics. I don't have that as yet, but these 4 points that I wrote down: bank, school, uh, supermarket, hospital. Those are definitely things that I will be planning to build and then build out here, back here in my property here. Now, when I say those things, it doesn't have to be mega American size, you know, facilities. As long as I hit the small segment that's here, it's fine, because there's already enough people here in my little area here. You have Kalanga, Glutao, Timbao, um, Bontod, Bontes. A lot of circulating, a lot of families live here already. Now, depending on the products and services I provide, more than likely it's gonna hit. And I just gotta be patient, just like you have to be, and just figure out those things that will be, you know, will be needed by the people, not wanted. So, and one thing that you have to understand, right? Us as Americans, we're used to a set of standards that we see in America, right? However, and I think I said this in the other video. Living in a provincial area, your standards have to be there, but you don't have to be as stringent as you would be back in America. So there is some compromise there, because you have to understand, with higher standards, costs go higher most of the time, outside of just education. I hope that helped a little bit. The editing, I might chop it up so it'll make more sense, because once my brain goes, I go. If you have any more questions, anybody out there has any more questions, let me know. So I'm probably gonna be stuck here in my office, going crazy, but I have my Tazzy here. I'll be playing with him all day. I might not have students come today because it is raining, so I'm gonna be lonely tonight, but I got a beautiful wife. Woohoo! Bye-bye.